Through the month of June, we've been looking at the Book of Lamentations in the Old Testament. In terms of the big picture, Lamentations picks up the story of the people of God as exiles, living far from home, far from the promised land. Following the destruction of the temple and the city of Jerusalem in the year 586 BC, the young, the strong, the best and the brightest in society were taken back to Babylon, in modern-day Iraq, as captives. And yet we've seen how even in exile, God's plans are not frustrated. But what comes next in the story of the people of God as we find it in the Scriptures? Well, against a turbulent political backdrop, where the power shifted from one empire to another, the people of God were finally permitted to return home. The exiles had spent 70 years in captivity. The majority of those who returned were therefore second-generation migrants who'd never set foot on their native soil before. The Book of Ezra records the efforts of these people to rebuild their temple, their city, and their lives. And it is to this book we shall turn for the next 4 weeks. As we give thought to our own situation, it's clear that there are some striking parallels here. This year has not panned out as we thought. These past few months have been difficult. A time of emotional, spiritual, and financial hardship. For some of us, it's also been a time of loss and mourning. Like the returning exiles to Jerusalem, we have a great deal of rebuilding to do. Ezra's focus was on the temple. Ours is on the church. Ezra's rebuilding was physical, ours spiritual. Ezra's task was one of reconstruction, ours one of reconnection. So the sermon series is about rebuilding. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll reflect on the priorities of the exiles. What did they focus on first? Where did they begin? We'll think about the opposition they encountered along the way. We'll observe the tension, the bittersweet moment when the people of God both celebrated the completion of their new temple, but also remembered with sadness the former glory of what had come before. As we find ourselves in this period of transition following the lockdown, we look back to the Scriptures to find guidance for the future. I wish you every blessing as we begin the process of rebuilding together.